Hey guys, so here's the download. Today, this video is not a book review. It is not going to be really about any kind of book except one. And it's because of the issue that I'm talking about today. And that issue is banned books. Now, a few weeks back, John Green went on his channel Vlogbrothers and talked about his book, Looking for Alaska, being on the top banned books of 2015. Which I was surprised to find out that that was actually true, and it's actually on the list. I'm looking at it right now, and it is number 1 out of 10 on the banned books, along with 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James, The Holy Bible, and Two Boys Kissing by David Levithan, which I actually would totally love to read after reading the synopsis of it. But I'm going to talk to you guys about what I think about having books being banned from libraries and such. And here's one issue that I really have about Looking for Alaska being banned. Now, I read the book when I was still in high school. I read it about after I read The Fault in Our Stars. I read Paper Towns first, The Fault in Our Stars, and then I read Looking for Alaska. And here's the problem that I have with books like Looking for Alaska being banned. Looking for Alaska was banned because of offensive language, sexually explicit, and unsuited for age group. Sexually explicit, that's an interesting thing, because would I have my 15-year-old brother read the book? I would probably be against it, but would I go up to him and snatch the book out of his hand if he were to pick it up and read it? No. That's for him to decide. But if he was younger, if he was 13, 14, and younger, would I have him read it? Probably not. But that's my opinion. And my mom could easily go and say, no, he could read it just fine. You know, if she finds it, it's fine for his age. But the problem that I have with banned books, especially when we're Looking for Alaska, is that there's not so many sexually explicit scenes or scenes of them being, you know, smoking and stuff. But I think the problem that I have with it is that people want to take out certain aspects of the book and kind of use that as sort of a way for them to go up to a school principal and say they can't read this book. It's not a book that they should be reading at their age level. Come on, guys. I mean, I can tell you there was a book series that my parents didn't want me to read. It was the what's it called? It was by Philip Pullman. It started with The Golden Compass and then went to The Subtle Knife. That was the last one. His Dark Materials, that's what it was called. That was the series that my family was a little skeptical about. And it was mostly my dad who was skeptical about it, and it was because of the fact that Philip Pullman isn't really religious and he doesn't believe in God. Which is what he told me was the reason why. If it's true or not, so what. But I did see the movie, The Golden Compass. My mom let me see the movie. I liked it. I heard there was a book. I wanted to read it. My dad didn't want me to read it because Philip Pullman didn't believe in God. And he forbid me to read it. Of course, did I listen to him? No. That's probably the most bad thing I've done, is actually read books that my parents told me I couldn't read. I'm a complete loser. But here's what I'm trying to say is that just because a book is banned, you think a book is not appropriate for your kid to read in school, if they're reading it in school, it's obviously passed a few tests from the teacher, because teachers, they're required to know what the kids are reading. So obviously the teacher that gave them this book, obviously she's read it and she knows what's in it and what the book talks about. And that's another thing about banned books, is that they can teach us so much about being taught. The Holy Bible I can see kind of being banned just because people have such a bad view on the Bible, but I think the Bible is perfectly fine for you to read. Do I think 50 Shades of Grey should be read by teenagers in high school? No. Do I think that they're going to do it anyway? Yes. So it doesn't really matter if you're banning it from your kids to be reading it in school than if your kid's already going to read it. Now, if it's for a curriculum and it's 50 Shades of Grey, then I have to wonder, because are you teaching a sex ed class? Because even if you are, that's not the right book to teach them sex ed. But for banned books, a lot of the times when they're put on the list of banned books of the year, it's because parents see that their kid is reading it, and then they just read a few pages out of it and say, this isn't appropriate for you, and we're gonna go to the school and tell them that they need to ban this book because it's not appropriate for kids to be reading your age. Which, for me, in Looking for Alaska, is really not, it really seems like parents don't know what their kids are doing at that age, because it talks about smoking, and it talks about having sex, and it's not even, enjoyable sex. Guys, if you've read Looking for Alaska, you know that when they're talking about sex, it's pretty much not an enjoyable thing that they're talking about. They're not talking about it in an enjoyable way, and they're just talking about it. They're not doing it. And so that's why I have a problem with that, just because you're teaching your kids that, that sex is wrong when it's not wrong. Smoking, if they're smoking illegal substances, then yes, it's wrong. But it's their choice, and I think parents don't really get that that's actually what kids are doing in high school. I can't tell you how many kids I watched in high school. I didn't see them necessarily, but there was actually a girl that sat next to me in one of my classes who asked me if I wanted to go drinking with her friends during lunch. I didn't even know this girl. We had barely met 10 minutes before, and she asked me if I wanted to go drink beer with her friends. I said no, of course, because I don't want to ever taste alcohol. But that wasn't the kicker. The kicker is that my mom worked there as the health tech, which not many people knew because I was still pretty much new. And she opened her backpack and pulled out, just ever slightly, a beer bottle. I don't know why that's in your backpack when you're in high school. You should not be drinking when you're in high school. Yeah, but point is, parents don't seem to really know what their kids are doing in high school, and so when they ban books like these because of the fact that the kids are smoking and that they're drinking, they really don't know what goes on a high school campus. And especially if your kid is a senior in high school and you're telling them not to, just because of the fact that they're seniors and they're going to be going to college. Do you know what college is? Do you know what a college party consists of? I'm in college. I know what a college party contains. Ignorance is bliss, isn't it? And another thing about banning books on content. I was looking at the list, and one of them, like I said, was Two Boys Kissing by David Levithan, who, if you guys don't know, he actually wrote a book with John Green called Will Grayson, Will Grayson. And Will Grayson, Will Grayson is one of the best John Green books I ever read. That one is amazing. Go read it. It's awesome. But the reason for this was homosexuality, and it condones public displays of affection. Okay, I don't like PDA in high school, for the record. I never did. But am I going to tell people off for having PDA? No. If they're groping each other, then yes. If they're just kissing, they're a couple, leave them alone. They're kissing. So what? And then the homosexuality part. I have to wonder, are these kids that the books were banned from, were they children? Or were they high school age? Or were they middle school age? Because at middle school, you pretty much know what gay is and what homosexuality is, especially in these times when it's such a big thing, when people have to come out to their parents because they're homosexual. What are you trying to teach kids that are going from elementary school to middle school and they end up reading this book? what are you teaching them by banning it? That homosexuality is wrong? Because it's not. It's not. I'm probably gonna, whoever watches this video is probably either gonna agree with me or they're gonna say screw you. But that's my viewpoint, is that homosexuality is not wrong. I've had a lot of gay friends. I have gay friends right now. And I don't see what's wrong with letting kids that are in middle school read a book about two boys. If it has sexually explicit content in it, then yes, then you shouldn't read it at middle school. But if it's just about a relationship between two boys, I don't see the harm in letting them read it. Because if you go up to a kid, even in elementary school, if you go up to a kid and there's two guys and they say, oh, this is my boyfriend, like, it's like having a girlfriend, but he's a boy. You know what every kid's usual response is? They're like, oh, that's cool. Or they want to know if they can have a boyfriend or a girlfriend too. And it's really that easy for kids to understand. So why are you banning books because of the fact that it's homosexuality? And I think it's mostly by those religious people that say that homosexuality is a sin and we shouldn't be teaching our kids that. That's a whole other issue that I don't really want to get into. And why are you banning books that kids read in school, that hold in their school libraries? Why are you banning those books from your kids? It's not going to harm them. I think in a way it makes people have a intolerant look at our world and what goes on in it. I know that reading the books that I have really helped me be tolerant of other people. Harry Potter, for example. I can't tell you how many people are so tolerant because of the fact that those books exist. There's actually been a study, and I don't remember where I read this from, but there was a study that kids who read Harry Potter a lot as kids actually had a very great interest and did a lot better with politics than kids who didn't. And I think reading books, even if it's about homosexuality, even if it's about something that your parents might not agree with, I don't think it hurts them, and I don't think it really affects them negatively. Like, who's going to look at a book and go, oh, they said that they had boring sex, I'm not going to read this. So that's my video on that topic. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more videos about books. See you guys!